So, 2023 was a unique year for me. Wait a minute, I can't use that again. Yeah, I'm here struggling to describe how my 2023 went. There were definitely some highs and lows. For starters, I did build a new gaming PC, it's pretty cool. It helped me to play some of the games that we're gonna see in this video. And then, I don't know. These last few months have just been kind of hectic. But if I had to summarize, I kind of wish I had a better year. I did make a couple of videos, and I did want to make some more as well, but I just never had the time. But I am happy with the results of the ones that did come out. You know, like my Pikmin videos. I think you understand what I mean. Basically what I'm trying to get at is, okay year, and I wish I did more, but I just felt too tuckered out. Of course, I did a lot of reading, a lot of watching movies, and the topic of this video, just kind of like last year, I played some games, and this time I played way more games this year than I did the last. So we're just going to talk about them. Because I did play more games, we are actually going to have a full-fledged top 10 video. But before we get into those listings, I want to go over a few of my honorable mentions. These are just some games that I did play, and I just kind of wanted to talk about them briefly, and we'll start with those. Before I start listing off any games I played this year, I just want to talk about one little honorable mention from last year, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because I played this after the 2022 video, and that's going to be Portal 2. Now, I didn't really get around to playing Portal 2 until recently. I've played Portal 1 once, actually a couple of times. Once through the orange box on PS3, and then the second time on Steam. And you know, they were pretty good games, and I wanted to play Portal 2, but I just never got around to it until recently. Well, am I saying recently? I didn't realize how much I would like Portal 2. I liked how it expanded on most of the gameplay, or just kind of puzzle elements from the first game. So here you have cubes that kind of deflect lasers into different directions, you have light bridges, you have the gels. It's so much, it just makes it better. And I kind of like the story, and I would consider it as one of my all-time favorites of all time, just for like the way that things are set up in the narrative-wise, and then paid off in like the final battle with the Wheatley.
Ground-up moon rocks are pure poison. I am deathly ill. Still, it turns out they're a great portal conductor.
Yeah, well now we're all gonna pay the price, because we're all gonna bloody die!
I don't care about spoilers. The game's 10 years old, just play it already if you haven't. But yeah, I just needed a little segment to gush about this game, because, dude, it's great. And before I finish off on talking about Portal 2, I just remembered how excellent GLaDOS's speech at the end is. It's like, GLaDOS's speech is like the best monologue that's been ever presented in gaming. And the only thing that's second to it would probably be the Pizzeria Simulator speech from Five Nights at Freddy's. This is going to be kind of a speed round of some honorable mentions, so I guess the first game I talk about is Katamari Damacy. It's kind of one of those games that I've wanted to play forever, and now I got to play. It's a fun, like, little turn off your brain or kind of sit back, relax type of game, which is why it's not on the list, even though, yeah, you know, I would probably put it as one of those, the games of all time titles. Oh yeah, and then there's Slime Rancher. Again, another sit back, relax type of game. I didn't really understand the end goal. I guess just keep farming slimes. Oh, Fallout 4 VR, so this is kind of a follow-up thing of just playing Fallout New Vegas and Halflife Alex, which will both be on the list, but I won't tell you what order they're in.
I played it, it's okay, but it's not really a VR game. Link's Awakening I played around the same time as Tears of the Kingdom. That was okay. I mean, it was my first 2D Zelda, and I didn't finish it, but, you know, overall, it's an alright game. One of my friends tried to show me Deep Rock Galactic. I didn't really get into it. I played it for like one day, and, you know, I want to play it, but there were also other games that I was playing this year. 5D chess, it made our brain melt. It hurt to just play this game, because, you know, how do you even close out one game of 5D chess with multiverse time travel? Suika game is just good, plain and simple. It's a good puzzle game, kind of akin to Tetris. I don't think it really matters what version you're playing because it's all the same principle. Samawa Idol, okay. Another one of those turn-off games, like turn-off-your-brain games. I also played Devigo VR. If you're not familiar with that, it's like a fun multiplayer PvP game where it's like you have a VR player fighting against these PC players, and they have different game modes and stuff, but the whole point is like, okay, you got one big guy who's a VR player with his head and hands up against these little knights with armor and with armor and hammers and rockets and stuff. It's actually kind of fun to play either side. The final mention that I want to honor is a small game called The Coffin of Andy and Lele. Now, before you click out, hey, don't click out of this video. We know about the I-word content, but rest assured, I played through this game like once or twice. I didn't get to it, so I mean that's gotta be like a secret ending. So, if we're not counting that secret ending, I think this is a terrific game. You know, it's just like this little indie RPG maker game, but there is some dark content to it. You know, it's about a toxic sibling relationship. The sister is just kind of like this sociopath with attachment issues with her brother, and I guess has like a demonic affinity because she can just summon demons whenever she can. And like the brother, Andrew, is this like apathetic, depressed guy who just kind of rolls with all the punches that her sister kind of brings up. Even though she tries to talk her out of it, she's just kind of thick-headed to listen to him. The game kind of explores this evil relationship. And, you know, I decided, you know, I wanted to put this in the top 10s, but the game is incomplete. We're still missing about 2 more chapters, and, you know, it's pretty cool. The game has cannibalism, and they have like a body count. It's impressive just how much these 2 young adults just kind of kill people. And that kind of wraps up my honorable mentions. The next thing we're gonna see is, you know, the actual top 10. So peace.
Alright. Gosh, this looks way cleaner than what I was doing. What the hell was I doing? So, the first game to start off this list officially is going to be this little guy called Assemble with Care. Now, what Assemble with Care is, it's just like this like short, 2-hour at most long game. It's a puzzle game. You basically take things apart, fix them, and put them back together. It appeals to me because I like fixing things. I like opening things. The controls are a little finicky at first because everything is just done with the left mouse click, and so you're going to be doing that for rotating, for picking certain parts, for interacting with the little buttons and dials on objects. It gets annoying, but you don't play the game for long enough for it to be in the way. Also, you follow this one story of this one girl traveling the world. She stops at this town for like a food festival, and this is where you get this kind of storyline. Well, you get like 2 storylines. You get one with 2 sisters, and then a father-daughter relationship. And it's just about these separate 4 people trying to get along. Just above Assemble with Care is another game called Going Under. Now, I think this might be the only roguelike I've played. if we're not counting bullet heavens like Vampire Survivors. But Going Under is just a roguelike that I kind of was aware about, but I didn't remember the name of. I remember seeing a YouTube video of it once, and I was like, that's a neat idea. And then I immediately forgot until I got it through like this website where they do like mystery Steam keys. So I got this game and I finally played it, and yeah, it was a sort of pleasant experience. Now, the important thing that you might notice from this game is that its art style is just kind of like minimalist, because the art style is just kind of loosely based off of like the corporate minimalism type of media. Now, the gameplay is pretty standard in this one. You have this top-down perspective. Don't look at that one. So you have a top-down perspective. You can like pick up weapons, and they do different amounts of damage. You got these enemies. It's just like a randomly procedurally generated dungeon, and you get 3 of these, and then you get like these revamped versions later in the story. And you know, pretty simple, but it makes up for it just from the fact that, you know, Amazon bad. That's the point. Amazon bad. Instant delivery drones. They just kind of allude to that. This is a fairly short game, especially if you're not aiming to 100% this game, and I would recommend this if this is one of your first roguelikes, or if you want to introduce somebody to roguelikes. This is the one to give to them.
Why? I don't understand!
Hey, wait a minute, I thought they talked about this game last year. Well, I did, but a lot of things changed since then. So this is an honorary mention last year. This was like attached to Vampire Survivors, which was just like the first bullet heaven that I got into, and then this was the fan game that was based off of Hololive, you know, this VTuber network. And I said some good things about it, about how it just lent itself to its fan service, which is just, you know, callbacks and in-jokes within the Hololive fandom. But they added a lot more this time. So this time around, they included way more characters. They have more of the JP branch, the Japanese branch, as well as introducing the Indonesian branch of the streamers, which is, I mean, that's pretty cool. We have more people to play around with, and then they introduced new stages, and they introduced this new thing called the Hollow House. Now, this is just kind of like your sit back, relax type of thing. I wasn't a big fan of it to begin with, but then I started doing it for completion reasons, and, you know, the fishing minigame's kind of entertaining. Doing all the gardening and stuff, that was alright. It's just kind of like a good way to slow down from the action of the Bullet Heaven gameplay. And it's still a free game, which is pretty impressive. So last year I said, like, I recommend if you know them, don't recommend if you don't. And I just kind of hold that same opinion, but it's exponential now because of how much bigger the game is.
Holy fuck!
Well, I wanted to play this game for several reasons. The first one was Star Wars Jedi Survivors came out in like a month away from when I started this game. And I also wanted to eventually come back to Twitch and live stream. So yeah, I ended up playing Jedi Fallen Order as my like comeback stream. Which is good too, because I was able to showcase just the power of my new gaming PC. I heard it was a good game when it came out, despite it being an EA game, which is true. And, you know, I didn't know it was going to be a Souls-like game. So this was my first Souls-like, and I've got to say, I had fun with the premise of this game. You know, just you're one of the last few Jedi Padawans, and you're going around these planets to just kind of find Eno Cordova's secrets. And I enjoyed, you know, the story. I like how they added a bit of stuff from the Old Republic with like the Night Sisters, which I had to be educated on because I didn't know too much about that myself. And it was challenging, but it was fun. I had fun playing the game up until the final boss. I don't know, something about it was soul-sucking. And I wanted to make a video based on this game, just kind of like a highlights reel, but I ended up not doing that because I actually don't know why I didn't. So, did I eventually play Jedi Survivor after this game? Nope. I wanted to, but then I didn't have money, and then I didn't have the time to get around to it, and then I heard from people that it was mid, so unfortunately I have not played Survivor yet. I'm gonna probably wait for a huge discount before I dip my toes into that one. I wasn't planning on playing this game, really, because I have the new gaming PC and I really just wanted a game on PC from now on. But you know, occasionally I wanted to play on the Switch as well. So, come on, a $70 game, I wasn't going to go ahead and shell out $70 to play Tears of the Kingdom. But, I might have impulsively traded in some games that I knew I wasn't going to play, because they've just been in my shelf for the longest time, and that's where Tears of the Kingdom comes in. Now, I played Breath of the Wild. I thought it was pretty good, but you know, with Breath of the Wild, you get to a point where you're like, okay, I've done a lot of stuff, and I've also beaten Ganondorf. Is it Ganondorf or just Ganon? Probably Ganon. Yeah, you defeat Calamity Ganon, and it's like, okay, cool. All that's left is to 100% the game, but I wasn't about that for Zelda. And I still wasn't about that for this game either. But I was in for just kind of the journey, and what a journey it was. The scale is just insane. You open with the Sky Islands, and that's its own like great plateau, and you know, and then you just fall from the sky into this pool of water. And then you just figure out just kind of the general idea, like, oh man, these evil forces are happening and nobody knows why. And so you just kind of go around Hyrule, a new, well, not new, but just a changed Hyrule, one that's different from the last game. And the game will just kind of occasionally call back at that fact, but I digress. It's impressive how much bigger this game is, and then because of that, it had to introduce some new mechanics that are different from this game. So of course you have like Ultra Hand, you just have this like hand that kind of manipulates objects to your will, and it's very open-ended with how you can use this. Like you can make these giant wheels, or in my case I built like a rocket or auto sprinklers. Or like in the mountains, I built like this auto target, this homing cart with a freeze cannon and a fan, so I would freeze enemies and then just kind of blow them out of the mountains. You know, it's an alright exploration game, even though it's just kind of the same as Breath of the Wild. I liked the Geoglyph quest. I noticed in my notes here that I had to specifically say, oh, the Geoglyph quest was just, you know, it was good. It was just telling this tragic story of Zelda getting displaced, being transported back in time, and then seeing just the failure of Hyrule and just the overtaking of Hyrule Castle by Ganondorf. Which, I mean, I know it's spoiler, so I'm probably going to tack that on right before I talk about the Geoglyph quest. You know, I kind of half expected there to be a more involved story than what we got. But this was just kind of similar to the Breath of the Wild, where you just choose your own adventure. You choose which order to go. What else do I want to talk about? Oh yeah, all the other mechanics. So, you know, fusion, it's alright. I'm not a big fan of how easily everything breaks now. And then, you know, there was also the Abyss, which is just the opposite of the Sky Islands. Instead, you just have the entirety of Hyrule, but kind of like inverted in terms of the kind of leveling of the ground. It would have been alright, but they don't seem to do much with it, except for like one or two main quests. Yeah, I can't really pin a recommend or do not recommend on this, which is ironic considering that games below this placement have been recommended. So, I mean, play at your own discretion is what I would probably get at.
Nice Charlies, too. Give him a shake for the Ben man, will you? You're a real ring-a-ding broad.
Okay, fine, New Vegas fans win! I was originally sick of hearing about Fallout New Vegas because, you know, if you're on the internet long enough, you just kind of hear people kind of shower it in praise, saying like, oh man, this is a fantastic game, probably the best Fallout game since the first two. And, you know, I was like, shut the hell up. This game is mad overrated. It runs on the same engine as, like, Morrowind. And on top of that, I was originally playing the PS3 version so many years ago that I thought, oh, maybe the rest of the game is just as unpolished and bad as what I've played through. But now that I got to play it on PC, I've learned that I am dead wrong. I got to play it for reals this time in 2023. I didn't really know what else I was gonna get into, and so I just kind of played it on my own pace. I didn't really look at any guides or anything, even though as like a new and upcoming Fallout fan all those years ago, I just kind of watched as many videos as I could on the series, but not so much on Vegas, strangely enough. I was surprised at how well the world was built. Well, what I meant is, like, I'm impressed on how much effort was put into writing characters, these places, these locations. How, like, Novak is just, like, a funny pun because the words Novak light up on a motel. And I was also amazed at, like, how well they managed to convey world issues in, like, a smaller scale. So it's almost like you have these Fallout fans discussing the politics of these major factions, Mr. House, the Free State, the NCR, the Caesar's Legion. They're just all kind of like discussing on which is the ideal leadership of the Mojave Wasteland. And I thought that was pretty compelling, especially since when you start off, you think of like the NCR as these good guys, like, hey, they're kind of like the police around here, they kind of do their job. But then as you explore farther out into the Mojave, your opinion of them slowly shifts. At least that's how I felt. Like, how they were kind of, like, imprisoning these Khans. Great Khans, for those who don't know. It's, like, a smaller faction. But it's, like, they imprison these old tribes. And so, like, each situation feels nuanced. And I don't think there was, like, a right answer for most of them. There are some that did have, like, I think definitive right answers, but I guess that's me being part of the discussion. And that's how impressed I was with this game. Like, wow, it didn't... I haven't felt like a game had made me think as critically as Fallout New Vegas did. And so that's why it gets a nice spot here on the top 5.
You know, you remind me of my wife a bit.
I want to fucking kill my wife!
Oh my god!
Words can't describe how I feel about this next entry. So this one's a bit of an unexpected game. I only found out about it because of the Steam, like, discovery queue, recommending me the sequel, or as the series creator calls it, the Reup.
Do you want to go to the library with me?
What the fuck is this game? Do you play video games to do conformist bitch shit like saving the world? Or are you a true Sigma who plays Class of 09 the Reup?
The Class of 09 and the Class of 09 Reup are a fucking emotional roller coaster. So it's a visual novel, and it's about this kind of sociopathic teenage girl in like the late 2000s going through her new school life because, you know, she moves a lot. That's established in the intro, and you can basically just it's a choose your own adventure kind of deal. There's 15 different endings, and some of them are like at a higher degree of shock value than others, and you'll know what I mean if you like play the game yourself. But basically, wait, there is no basically. This game I had to put on face cam just to convey how shocked I was at the kind of situations or dialogue exchanged in this game. And, like, that's kind of the big reason why it's on this list, even at number 4. So some things I liked. I liked how that no character was entirely likable. People will argue, like, hey, maybe this Karen girl, or maybe Ari. But, I disagree. I don't think anybody is entirely likable in that, series of games. Yeah, that's it. Oh, and just kind of the wild dialogue They would just kind of reference stuff specifically from the 2000s. They talk a lot about MySpace, occasionally about YouTube, and they'll just make references. Listen, just go play the damn game. It's so good.
You have failed the challenge. Thank you for playing.
What the fuck? No!
The struggles of having a VR-ready PC and a headset is that there aren't that many good games to play. I mean, you've got your Beat Saber, you've got your FNAF Help Wanted, your job simulators, but, I mean, those are just, like, small, bite-sized experiences. There isn't any, like, action-adventure going on there. But, that kind of turns around when you play this game called Halflife Alex. Halflife Alex is one of the most transcendent experiences I've had in any video game. I mean, that doesn't say much, but if you consider that it's a VR game, ergo, you are in the video game, and you look at just the level of detail that's put into it and the amount of care put into how you play the game, it's hard to describe any bad things about this game. Everything just feels very intuitive. The guns feel very nice to use, especially when you reload them. You know, you got your pistol clips, your rifles, your shotguns. The new mechanic with this game, the rustles, it just feels nice to use them every time to, like, grab things anywhere. And, you know, this might not be the best first game, like, first VR game for anybody, but if you want to give it a go, I'd say do it. Now, if you're not familiar with Half-Life, you might at first see it as just kind of like this horror game, which it has horror elements, but not exactly. It definitely feels scarier to fight a headcrab zombie, though, in VR, rather than, like, playing Half-Life 1. But, you know, 3 guns, but they're excellent. And the thing about it is that the game is so good, it has ruined VR gaming for me. That's why I kind of had that little, that little slight against Fallout 4 VR, because it just didn't feel as intuitive as Half-Life Alex. I take back what I said earlier. That is the one bad thing about Half-Life Alex, is that it ruins VR gaming if you've only played Half-Life Alex or any other VR game. Like, that's it. How do you compare any other game to it? And now you might be thinking, if I have this, like, high acclaim for Half-Life Alex, how come it's only number 3? Well, that's because these next 2 entries kind of scratch an itch in my head. So let's get into those right now.
Go!
Oh, way off. You missed it. My bad.
Alright, so this one's just a funny little story. So, for as long as I can remember, I've been a fan of the games, Ratchet and Clank games. I can't get enough of them. I like playing them. I like replaying them. I like replaying them. And I have almost every game, and I've played through all of them, except for 2. I haven't played the PS4 game because I don't have a PS4, and I definitely haven't played the PS5 game because I don't have a PS5. You know, that was going to be one of the main reasons I bought a PS5, and then I didn't, and then I built a PC, so I had to accept that I would never be able to play the new Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart game. And then they announced that it was going to come to Steam. You bet your ass I was so exhilarated to hear that, you know. I somehow got lucky and built a PC strong enough to play the game. God, I just love these games. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart came out, and, you know, I was just in awe of the graphics. I know graphics aren't everything to a game, but when you come from this, seeing how this series comes a long way is just something to me. Like, my jaw dropped at many of the scenes, or, like, introductory shots that you get, like, at the start of each level. And, you know, it was just that big of a deal for me that I actually went to buy a DualSense to play the game. I knew that, like, it came with all these experimental features with, like, the HD rumble in the triggers, and you do feel them, even in the PC version, just like how the triggers will stop halfway, and then maybe you can do like a half press or a full press. The game actually kind of threw me for a loop the first time I played it. I thought like, oh, you know, the game is going to be like Ratchet and Clank, just do flips and strafe around enemies. They wisened up. They got smart. So, you know, you have your little ankle biter enemies. They actually like run fast enough to bite you, and they will bite you. And then, you know, the enemies will lead their shots into where you will go. And that actually got me so many times the first time I played the game. Like, I was actually getting frustrated, but then, you know, I figured out you have to use this new dash mechanic. I loved all the callbacks to the previous games, whether it be like cosmetics or like the opening where they're in a parade and they call back to every game, well, most of the games, but still they call back to them, and it just took me back. The new characters, I liked them. I liked Rivet, I liked Kit, I liked what they did to them in the story, and I also liked many of the weapons that they added, like the Ricochet or like the Sprinkler. I thought those were cool additions. And, you know, I just can't wait to see what they have in store. I know I'm going to have to wait a few years because of the PS5 privilege, but damn, I really liked this game.
Each type of Pikmin brings something unique to the table.
Yeah, if you were familiar with this channel, you probably saw this one coming. I don't think it's much of a secret that I like the Pikmin games. You know, I don't really get involved in many Nintendo franchises, but Pikmin is the one I kind of go out of the way to enjoy. So you might be familiar with how I played through all of, well, not all of them, but that I did make a video playing through the first 3 games in the series. You know, I did that all on stream in preparation for, you know, Pikmin 4, which is this one. Pikmin 4 is the game of the year. My game. Yeah, Pikmin 4, fantastic. It's a soft reset to the series, you know. It introduces you to things for the first time again, like Pikmin types and hazards and stuff. You gotta save Olimar, and it's just kind of a love letter to Pikmin 2, you know? Because Pikmin 2, there was no time limit, and it was mostly about treasure collecting. And you kind of do the same thing here. You got these, like, open hub worlds, and then within them you have caves that you enter to dungeon crawl, or like challenge yourself to collect as many items, or get into battles, these Dandori battles, with the opponent, which is obviously like Olimar. I mean, come on. You're gonna tell me that's not Olimar? The whole objective is like, oh, you're a captain, or not a captain, but you are a newbie to the rescue team, and you have to help find Olimar, because he got stranded here and he sent out a distress signal. But uh-oh, it turns out 50 other people had the same idea, so now it's up to you and the Pikmin and your rescue dog to go find them. I like Ochi, but to be honest, he does make the game a little easier. I was originally planning to make like a video essay style review of Pikmin and just kind of evaluating all of the qualities of the game, but much like my passion and just drive to do these little projects, it just fell through. And, you know, just a little funny side note before we end up the video. Got Pikmin fatigue. Isn't that funny? After playing the trilogy, and then after playing Pikmin 4, and then doing all those videos, I was just kind of like tired with Pikmin. I didn't pick up the second game, or I didn't pick up Pikmin 4. I didn't return to Pikmin 4 yet, so that might be something that I'll do. But, you know, again, much like Ratchet and Clank, I can't wait to see what they do for Pikmin now that the audience is there. Hello, welcome to Pikmin.
And try to get a spoon. Oh, wow. It's even hard to get a spoon of noodle. Look, it's incredibly difficult to get a spoon of noodle out of it.
Yeah, so basically 2023 has been a turbulent year for me. I did find some time to do streaming and videos, you know, stuff that I like to do, but those usually had to be put on hold because of other things going on in the background of here. You know, everything that isn't here is considered background, and then, you know, stuff that's in my actual life considers the YouTube stuff as background stuff that doesn't matter, which sucks because, you know, again, I was put on the edge these last few months, not being able to do anything. There were days that I felt like I was gonna snap or just kind of melt down, and so being able to return to this, video in January, strangely enough, we're already near the end of January, and I'm just now getting this video out when I said I wanted to get it done before the end of the year last year. But I'm hoping that I can make just a couple more videos. I don't think they're all going to be that interesting, but it's stuff that interests me. So, the next one, hopefully, is going to be the video where I talk about downgrading. I have this video, kind of in development, where I talk about how I downgrade from an iPhone to Can't wait to show you guys. 2023 was stressful, and I hope that 2024 is not as stressful. I hope to see the light of day.